All right. Hey. Good morning. Center for Spiritual Living, Palm Deserts, and friends all over our beloved planet. It's Reverend Charles joining you for another Friday edition of Life on Love, where we explore anything, really. Great to be with you. I hope everybody's having a beautiful day. Coming to you maybe just a little bit late. We've got a technical glitch, but we worked it out. So thanks for being with us this morning. We've got Reverend Lori Savage in the producer's booth, helping us out, which is always a good thing. And it's a good day. I'm coming to you from my bedroom. I've been relegated to my bedroom because the princess is in school out in the dining room. So that's why I'm sitting in front of my bed with the Halo fan over my head, keeping me cool. But hey, beauty about this technology is we can do it from anywhere, right? So hope everybody's having a great Friday so far, wherever you are. Please always remember that you can comment in if you have any questions. I'm going to do today what we've been doing the last couple of weeks is read to you from Science of Mind 365 Science of Mind, unpack it a little bit, and hopefully it's of benefit to everybody. Next Friday, we're going to be mixing it up and play a little game called Where in the World is Dr. Joe Hooper? So that'll be a lot of fun. We're gonna track down Dr. Joe wherever he happens to be on his sabbatical and get a check-in with him, see how he's doing, how his heart is, if he's feeling rejuvenated, all that. I'm sure he is, and just kind of decompressed and living his life on love, he and Trey. So it's a good day. I want to start with just a moment of prayerfulness together. I think if any of us are paying attention to kind of generally what's going on in the world, here in the West Coast, there's fires all up and down the West Coast, and people are losing their homes. The smoke is affecting people. I know that some people are having health challenges, and we can have a tendency to get to forget principle in the midst of these things. I certainly know in the times in my life when I've had significant challenges, sometimes I forget principle. I either go into, sometimes I go into woe is me, sometimes I go into just problem solving mode. And I forget to bring principle into the quote unquote problems. And as Eric Butterworth says, turn our problems into projects and look at them from a standpoint of solution. And so I pray that's what happens for everybody today as we go through the Science of Mind and bring principle to what's happening in our lives. And my prayer is that we experience some peace, some relief, some freedom. So let's start with a moment of prayerfulness. And if you're so inclined to close your eyes, that's fine. If you pray with your eyes open, you know what? There's no right or wrong way to pray. The most important thing is that we're touching the presence somehow, is that we're touching our heart, is that we're moving our consciousness to an elevated state where we can see solution and live in communion, and live in unity with the present. So if you just take a deep breath with me here for a moment, and just for a moment, consider the challenges you might be faced by right now. Is there a particular challenges, a group of challenges that you're ready to bring principle into the midst of, so that challenge, that problem can turn into a project that you see from the standpoint of solution now? And bring that awareness of solution to that challenge, the awareness of relief to that challenge, understanding that each one of us live and move and have our being within the presence of the whole Spirit, and that is our life, that there is only one presence, one power, one thing, with many expressions, but only one thing. Separate, but not separated. That's who we are today. A separate expression, but not separated from the one. And so in that idea of unity, of being unified with this presence, of elevating our awareness, of going to the attic, going to the upper room of consciousness, in the awareness of elevating our awareness to see solution, I now declare on behalf of each one of us that we are solution oriented. That we invite peace into the midst of situations that transforms it, a peace that passes understanding and a peace that brings understanding. And in this, we experience relief. We experience a new thought. We're in this movement called New Thought. Today, we welcome a new thought that can transform a situation, that can heal a situation, a relationship, the loss of a loved one, the loss of a home, financial challenge, that we're lifted, raised, and praised today. And I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful that each of us welcome a new thought, welcome a new idea, that we live in solution, that we live in the power and the presence and the goodness of life. That at every turn, we have an opportunity to see blessing, and we see it. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for this moment of communion together, albeit virtually. I'm grateful for it. I call it good. And so it is. So as always, my simple intention and desire is to be of benefit to you as we join together. And I want to share with you the words of Ernest Holmes' Science of Mind 365. I encourage everybody to have this book. It goes right through the calendar, 365. I don't know if there's an extra page in here for a leap year. Did he ever? I don't think he added a leap year day. Anyway, you can make up your own on a leap year. So today, September 18th, the title of today is All Things Are Made Out of Life. All things are made out of life. Just one moment here. How wonderful to realize that from one formless and invisible substance, everything that is visible comes. This invisible essence of things is the spirit of life itself. Realizing this spirit at the center of people and things is silent communion with the divine presence. There is but one life. When we recognize life in others, it is the life in us that is responding to them. As we unify with this life through people, it automatically unifies with us. As we agree with it, it agrees with us. From this recognition, there comes a quickening of our own consciousness. It is written that it is the spirit that quickeneth. Today, I know that my spirit is quickened as I recognize the same spirit in others. This is high work that we're called to. And if you were with Linda Watson and myself yesterday, we talked about this. Realizing the presence, realizing the presence of life in all nature, I know that it responds to me. I am one with that which is alive, awake, and aware. There is nothing dead, nothing stagnant, nothing inactive. In all, through all, and around all, I realize one presence. There are diversities of things, but the same spirit. Now, the title of this Friday show is Life on Love. You know that now. Life on Love. And I'm so grateful that that came to me because that's how I desire to live my life. And certainly there are times, as I've already talked about, where I get hypnotized and mesmerized by the the stuff of the day, the stresses, but always I want to pivot back to love. And in love is generosity, and in love is service, and in love is giving. And that's what Ernest Holmes is calling us into seeing as well, to living a life on love, to actually, as Linda mentioned yesterday, that we're called to be beholders, beholders of truth, beholders of love, beholders of wisdom, beholders of the goodness in another, even if they can't see it themselves and it would cause them to act out in a way that doesn't feel good or the way that we wouldn't call life-giving, that we're still called to behold the presence that exists within them. And it is the same presence that exists within us. That's the place that we want to meet. That's the place that we want to come together to celebrate life in. And believe me, I understand oftentimes that is not an easy thing to do. There are all sorts of things that can piss us off. We don't need to go down that laundry list. We know that they exist. But constantly there's an invitation knocking on our hearts that we're called to meet the divine presence in another. And when we do, we actually call that presence forth out of another person. Because look, we know that we get caught up in the stresses of the day. We get caught up in the dramas of life. Other people do too. So that's compassion, is having an understanding that we all get caught up in it from time to time. And we're called to recognize the divine first and foremost here at home, within ourselves, and then we can more easily and readily see it in others, so that we can change and transform the environment within which we're living, because we're changing and transforming our own environment, our own ecosystem. How wonderful it is to realize that from one formless and invisible substance, everything that is visible comes. See, that's the thing that we can utilize. We have tools here. We have keys to the kingdom, as it's been said. This invisible essence of things is the spirit of life itself. Realizing this spirit at the center of people and things is silent communion with the divine presence. Now ask again, what areas of your life where you're experiencing a challenge do you have an opportunity to welcome the presence in, so you can experience some relief, so that you can experience some peace? Again, the peace that does pass understanding and the peace that brings understanding. Peace. There is but one life. This is the fundamental error, gang, thinking that there is multiple forces at work, that there are multiple things happening, multiple powers that are in a power struggle. There's only one power. There's only one life. There's only one thing happening. And it's up to us to elevate and change our perspective, our perception of it, in order to be in alignment with it, so that we can begin again, over and over again, to create or continue to create the life that we love. Life on love. High on love. There is only one life. When we recognize life in others, it is the life in us that is responding to them. With so much otherness and othering happening today, this is medicine, gang. Medicine. That cure that we're looking for is here. As we unify with this life through people, it automatically unifies with us. As we agree with it, it agrees with us. You know what Ernest Holmes is saying there? Get out of your own way. Get out of your own way. Move into alignment with principle and how it works, and your life will be better. And you know how we do that is to look to nature and the harmony of nature, the harmony of our natural world, natural wonders, and apply those principles. Being. Again, if you have any comments or questions, please send them in. As we agree with this, it agrees with us. Agree with life. Agree that life is for you. What if you came into an agreement that actually life is for you? Just that simple idea that life is for you. How would that turn your challenges or your problems into opportunities and projects and solutions? This isn't meant to be a cakewalk. As Michael Bogar shared with us many months ago, it's meant to make soul. It's meant to make us. It's a development. In sports, it's called a process, and it's an ongoing, continual process. There's no end game. There's no end game. There's the process of getting knocked down, realizing, oh, this isn't life trying to get over on me. It's simply an opportunity to grow, to see where we may have stumbled, to see what the beauty is out of this particular problem and turn it into a project. Carrie says, with this knowledge comes greater responsibility to be the adult in the room. Absolutely. But who doesn't want to be responsible for their own life? I mean, ask yourself this. How would it be if someone else had responsibility for your life? If you didn't actually have responsibility for your life, responsibility for our life is a gift. Within it, guess what else is within that? Freedom. Freedom. Freedom's always been my word. Freedom. Reverend Lori, jump off the couch for a minute here. Do you have any? Have you ever walked through a challenge by this idea? You know, someplace where you've been maybe out of sorts, or you've been really up against it, and realized, hey, I can turn this problem into a project.
All the time. All the time. Because that's the blessing of this teaching. If you're using it, then you're doing that all the time. When things come up, it's like you can train your mind instead of, I just wrote on the chat, respond to the ability to respond is a gift.
Mm.
And we train our mind to respond. So rather than responsibility, which feels to me sometimes heavy, right? It's like I got to.
We can.
I got to. It's sometimes, not always, but
Yep.
the ability to respond always feels awesome.
Yes.
You know, it's training my mind to respond to things with truth. If it's not my first thought, making sure it's my second thought.
Mm-hmm.
Because, sometimes that first thought just goes so fast that you're like, "Ooh, whoa,
Yep.
whoa, what was that?"
Yep.
But, there's a heartbeat in between that, and you can go, "Oh, yeah, all right. What's the truth here?" My favorite
Yep.
question. And
Well,
that's little T truth. Because oftentimes we don't even look at the little T truth because, we're all graduates of making stuff up of university,
MSU.
right? Yes,
MSU.
exactly. So, and that's how our brains work. I've been reading a lot about neuroscience, and that is how our brains function. Not a bad thing, but if you get that, then you can work with what is and train your mind to live in truth, to stay in.
Yes. And it is training, ongoing. Thanks. Thank you, Reverend
Yes.
Lori. It's ongoing training. It is. And when Lori mentioned, the idea of responsibility, the ability to respond rather than a heavy thing, that makes me think of the idea of commitment as well. Committing something is one of the most powerful movements of energy that we have. Like, for example, committing to this idea of witnessing the presence in another human being, of witnessing their good, of witnessing their possibility, committing to that. Commitment gets a bad rap because people commit to things they don't really want to commit to. They think they have to because of the inherent nature of commitment. What if you commit to the things that move your heart? What if you commit to the things that give you a greater sense of life? Not commit to a marriage because you think you have to, or commit to a job because you think you have to, but you commit to the things that draw you out, that lift you up. And then you commit to a marriage that draws you out and lifts you up. Then you commit to a job that draws you out and lifts you up. Then you commit to friendships, projects, ideas, principles. You commit to them because it draws you out and lifts you up. That it's actually a gateway to freedom rather than a burden. What if you don't commit to anything you're not moved to commit to? You don't have to commit to something just because of what we think commitment means, that you do things that you don't want to do and show your resolve and your resiliency and this and that. And there is a time for resolve and resiliency, and that's great. I'm saying examine what you're committed to in your life and just take a little inventory. Does it draw you out, your essence, and lift you up? As we agree with it, it agrees with us. From this recognition, there comes a quickening of our own consciousness. It is written that it is the Spirit that quickeneth. What is quickening? Quickening is moving things along. It's agreeing with, it's getting in alignment. And as we get in alignment, things move quicker. It's an awakening. It's an awakening. Today, I know that my spirit is quickened as I recognize the same spirit in others. Realizing the presence of life in all nature, I know that it responds to me. I am one with that which is alive, awake, and aware. There is nothing dead, nothing stagnant, nothing inactive. In all, through all, and around all, I realize one presence. There are diversities of things, but the same spirit. You know what this makes me think of, and some folks out there might think it's corny, but I'm moved by it, and was when I was a little kid. My dad found the making of this video and would play it over and over again and actually make us watch it. And then it just became like, wow, this is profound, is We Are the World. That song, We Are the World. It was all like the top stars back in the 80s. It was a project called USA for Africa, right? That when we actually, there's a line in there, when you're down and out and there seems no hope at all, if you just believe, what is it? So there's just believe, seems no hope, just believe, there's no way we can fall, I think it is. Let us realize that a change will only come when we stand together as one. Now that's principle. And we can talk about that with anything that's going on right now. A change will come when we stand together as one, and that is to listen to Ernest Holmes today and realize there's only one thing happening. That person is my brother. That person is my sister. That is a hard thing to do right now when there's so much othering going on. But those of us that are committed to being awake have to stay awake. And then welcome others into being awake as well. Not to get angry, but be constructively angry. Be mad, but be constructively mad. There's nothing wrong with anger. There's nothing wrong with anything, so long as we're not hurting ourselves or another. Be angry about what's happening. Out of that, things emerge. And I'm not talking about anything specifically. I'm just I guess as an aside, saying there's nothing wrong with being angry. Be constructively angry. Allow that anger to be transmuted into inspiration for change and for healing. A change will come when we stand together as one. I love that song. Sometimes I just say, it's not looping right now. It's not in the jukebox at this time, but from time to time, I'll just get inspired and listen to that over and over again. Plus, it's like the superstars of all time. singing it. We Are the World. If you haven't ever heard the song, I encourage you to go listen to it. So when it seems like there's so much otherness that is happening, let's realize that what we're meant to do is witness the presence in ourselves, and then witness the presence in another. Let's see, it looks like maybe we have a couple comments coming in here. Eager guest. Keep it coming, Reverend Charles. Well, thank you, eager guest. I do my best. Oftentimes what happens is all of us that like to preach or teach, we teach ourselves. I guess we just have enough ego to want to stand up in front of people and do it. Oh. But we're called to rise and to share our gift. If you don't share your gift, something's missing. You're here to share something for however long you're here for. Carrie says, be skeptical and listen. Wednesday lesson was Sensational 6. The fifth agreement. That's right. Be skeptical and listen. Reverend Laura, you're part of that lesson on Wednesday. How do you see that fitting in here? The fifth agreement you guys talked about on Wednesday.
Yes,
yeah?
yes. That I think it goes back to what we were saying before, to pay attention to what comes up for us, to be skeptical of our own thoughts, because our brains are wired as such that it's a little bit of a mess in there sometimes, and there's a lot happening in the subconscious. And the ability to be skeptical when you ask questions, when you really look, it brings all that up to the conscious level, and then you can do something with it. But you first have to be aware, and it begins with being skeptical. I'm all about asking questions, good questions, not
Mm-hmm.
questions like, how do I feel? Because that could bring me down the rabbit hole. Not that there's anything wrong with feelings, but they're kind of dependent on what I ate for breakfast and how well I slept last night, and a whole host of things, right? But
Yeah.
I'll ask myself, like, how am I experiencing my energy right now? Because that has me looking internally at my body, and my body is a receptor for everything going on, and so it gives me feedback, and it takes me to that level of observation. And for me, on my spiritual journey, when I found that peace, that observational piece, boom, all the tumblers fell into place. And
Yeah.
then I was able to take all these principles and apply them in my life,
And
and
that and
wake
that
me
actually
awake.
and that actually goes back to the idea of responsibility as well. Then we can actually respond, right? As you mentioned, then we can actually
Yes.
respond to something rather than react. That we can actually, there's a freedom in being aware of what's happening and then choosing our thought, choosing what path we want to jump on and walk.
Yes, I used a quote this week in the Sensational Six from What the Bleep Do You Know? And I don't know if you've seen that movie with
Long time
the
ago.
basketball player, the little kid. And
Mm,
he says superheroes basically have the ability to take in everything at once and see all the possibilities, and then they collapse on the one they want.
mm,
That was his superpower. And then they explained why that is in quantum physics, right? That all possibility exists. And by asking a good question, you can focus in on the one that you want and consciously choose it. And all the rest just kind of disappear. And that one comes forward into your life. And I thought, I love that. That scene never left my mind. I thought,
mm.
oh, so it's the ability, to, when you're observing, you're way up here, you're sitting in the absolute, right? You're coming from truth, and you're looking down and you're going, oh, here's all the possibilities. Now, which one do I want?
That's
And then
right.
you base everything, your thoughts, your actions, your commitment, all comes based on where you're going.
Love
And
it.
commitment is so key. I love that you brought that up. My friend Rick Tamlin is all about commitment. He said, boy, that supersedes talent. It
Mm,
supersedes skill. It supersedes everything. It's the person who is committed that
yes.
gets to the finish line with their
Yes.
desires.
Amen.
So,
Yes. Yes. So, gang, our spiritual gangsters, are you willing? I'm going to read this through one more time and ask you again, are you willing? How wonderful to realize that from one formless and invisible substance, everything that is visible comes. This invisible essence of things is the spirit of life itself. Realizing this spirit at the center of people and things is silent communion with the divine presence. There is but one life. When we recognize life in others, it is the life in us that is responding to them. As we unify with this life through people, it automatically unifies with us. As we agree with it, it agrees with us. From this recognition, there comes a quickening of our own consciousness. It is written that it is the spirit that quickeneth. Today, I know that my spirit is quickened as I recognize the same spirit in others. Realizing the presence of all life in nature, of life in all nature, I know that it responds to me. I am one with that which is alive, awake, and aware. There is nothing dead, nothing stagnant, nothing inactive. In all, through all, and around all, I realize one presence. There are diversities of things, but the same spirit. Are you willing to commit to that which gives you more life? To commit to that which gives you more life? Freedom, expression, peace, joy, the capacity to turn any problem and look at it from the standpoint of solution, turn problem into a project. A health challenge into a project of becoming healthy, of welcoming health, a financial challenge into the project of financial solvency, a creative block into creative expression, a challenging relationship into something that gives life. That welcomes us into more life. Eager Guest says, say more about the observational piece. What did I say about the observational piece? Or did Reverend Laurie say something about the observational piece? What did I say? I'm in the stream right now. I don't remember what I said about the observational piece. Eager Guest, if you can remind me. But I can say this about observation. That you can actually, you become a witness. You stand at the doorway of your own consciousness and you actually choose. So the brain does think. The brain thinks, it's wired to think. It has how many, I don't know how many thoughts every day, but millions, whatever it is. The synapses are firing, et cetera, et cetera. But we actually have dominion as well, that we can actually choose. That's where commitment comes in as well. We can actually commit to embracing one particular idea. Or many particular ideas, but we can commit to it. As we observe something, we actually take in information about it and then can make a choice. It goes back to actually what Reverend Laurie mentioned as well, that from so many different stimuli or input, we can actually collapse that when we're observing it and make a choice. So you can actually observe the tendency of your thinking as well. You can observe the tendency where you tend to go in your thinking, which affects your emotional body, and start to have dominion over that so that you can actually choose what you want your tendency of thought to be. What demonstrates as our life is the tendency of our thinking. Do you tend to think thoughts of financial well-being? Do you tend to think thoughts of health, a healthy body temple? Do you tend to consider all of your relationships to be life-giving and loving, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? As we observe, actually, even as we observe our physical environment, we can reverse engineer, if you will. By taking in that information, we can see, okay, this is the tendency of my thinking. Do I still want to keep these patterns, this home, these relationships in place? Or is the feedback, am I still in love with my home? Do I still want to live here? How is this friendship working? How is this relationship working? What tweaks need to be made? So when we're observing, when we're actually skeptical or critical thinkers, we're observing, we're bringing in information. And because we have dominion over our own lives, we can then choose. Eager guests, I hope that helps you out a bit there. And how we also are called to observe is times of, reflection, journaling, meditation. When you're on your morning walk, kind of just think about the general state of your life. Make some mental notes, take some inventory. What's working, what isn't working so well? The point is to be aware as we can possibly be. The idea is to be as conscious of our consciousness as we can possibly be. Somehow.
Rev Charles, everything okay out there? Hello? Oh, you're still muted.
Sorry, gang. I don't know what happened there. Forgive me. I'm here. I'm manipulating the controls, and I'm not a master manipulator of controls, obviously. Eager guest, between the two of you, I'm understanding a lot. Wonderful. Well, that's what I've got today, gang. I hope it's of benefit to you. I hope that you've been blessed by it somehow. Again, that's my prayer every time we do one of these things, is that somehow that my life and ministry is a benefit to you, and somehow that we're all lifted, raised, and praised. So as I mentioned, next Friday, a week from today, tell everybody, make sure and tune in. Where in the world is Dr. Joe Hooper? So we're going to do that. We're going to have some fun with that. I mean, I hope it's fun. I hope it'll be fun no matter what. We're going to make it fun. Let's see. That's next Friday, 1 week from today. Be nice to see the guy. He's been on sabbatical for a while. He is coming back. He'll be back next month. Just thought it'd be fun to check in. I know some people are wondering where he is, and we're all going to find out if he wants to tell us. Maybe he'll just be in a dark room someplace and just we'll check in with him, but he doesn't want us to know where he is. Anyway, I'm kidding. We're going to have some fun. So tomorrow, if you got a new fresh meditation coming to your inbox, Sunday, another service. Monday, my friend, my buddy, my pal, Ted Russell Camp, an extraordinary musician. If you're ready for some awesome music on a Monday morning, get ready for this concert and conversation. Ted's played music all over the world. He's toured all over the world. He lives in Los Angeles. So we're going to have the benefit of him on Monday at 10. It's going to be awesome. Tuesday, we continue with Jafon Seeley in our book, How to Become an Anti-Racist. Wednesday, The Sensational Six. And then Thursday, Dr. Laura is stepping in with a special guest. I can't remember who it is right now, but it's going to be a teaser for a new program that we're going to have coming out, which actually Dr. Laura is going to be facilitating, called The Higher View. And dang it, we should have her come on here right now and give a little teaser on that. We will on Monday. We'll figure out a way to keep hyping that. But that'll be Thursday with Dr. Laura and a special guest. Sorry, gang, I can't remember who it is right now, but we're going to get that info to you quickly. We'll let you know so you can plan for it. And then Friday, I already talked about Friday. It's a good day. Today is Friday. For all you golf fans out there, it's day 2 of the United States Open at Winged Foot up there in New York. Everything's good. Please, we continue to count on you for your financial support of the center, to pay salaries, to our Sunday giving's down a little bit right now. We're in a decent position, but we're also dipped a little bit. So to keep the building going, to keep it all rolling, so that when we come back together, the center is even better than it was before we left. That's our commitment. So please continue to find ways through the website, through the office. You can call into the office to share your financial good. And for all of you that are continuing to support the center, we're so very grateful for your gifts, tithes, and offerings. And thank you so much for continuing to honor your tithing and for sharing your financial good. It is a blessing, and we're very aware of it, and I'm grateful for it. Reverend Lori, how we do? That's what I've got. I'm feeling good about things. It's going to be a good Friday. Yeah.
Yes,
Final-
I think so. What a wonderful topic. Thank you so much, Reverend Charles. I know it was exactly what I needed this morning. So thank
Me
you.
too. Absolutely. That's Reverend Lori Savage in the producer's booth. We appreciate her. Lori, have an awesome day. Everybody have an awesome day. I pray that each one of you can make it the best day ever.
Thanks,
Peace and love.
everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.